Hey everyone, and welcome back to Newegg TV. My name is Paul. Today I have a very special unboxing of a brand new video card from MSI that a lot of folks have been looking forward to. This is the MSI GeForce GTX 780 Lightning. We'll start off with a closer look at the retail box. This video card, of course, features Nvidia's very own GeForce GTX 780. That's based on the same GK110 GPU that the GeForce GTX Titan is based on. So of the 700 series cards, the 780 is kind of the top dog with the exception, of course, of the Titan. However, that's kind of in a class of its own. This card is built to be perfect by MSI, so perfection is what you should be expecting. This is also designed specifically for overclocking, and with that in mind, this card does come with an out-of-the-box overclock, a base clock of 980 megahertz, and a boost clock of 1033 megahertz. That's compared to the reference design, which gives you 863 and 900, respectively. Let's take a look at some of the other stuff listed here. We'll start over in this area. Features, of course, as well as minimum system requirements. Now, this is a Pci Express Gen 3 card. However, you can pop it into a Pci Express Gen 2 slot. Don't worry about that. You'll get slightly less performance on Gen 2, but it's really just a matter of a few percentage points. So again, it doesn't require a full system upgrade if you want to upgrade to this card. Also bear in mind, MSI is recommending a minimum 600 watt power supply with a 42 amp 12 volt rail at minimum. So again, this card does draw a bit more power than your typical one. It's overbuilt again for overclocking, so just keep that in mind. Also make sure there's distance between the Pci Express slots of 55 millimeters before you use SLI mode with the GPU Reactor, and I'll kind of point out to you guys what that is. It does require a little bit more spacing. Features are listed over here. On the left side, this card does come equipped with 3 gigabytes or 3072 megabytes of GDDR5 memory. And you also get a ton of the features that Nvidia has been introducing over the past year or two with the GeForce 600 series, as well as prior to that with the 500 series and earlier. So physics technology, GPU Boost 2.0, which is a new feature just exclusive to the 700 series, so the Titan, the 780, the 770, and the 760, gives you automatic overclocking based on a temperature target, and it does a fantastic job of that. You can also download overclocking utilities such as MSI's Afterburner. You can use that to more effectively dial in your overclocks and sort of tweak your settings there. Physics, also FXAA, some more advanced anti-aliasing technology, adaptive VSync, which will turn vertical sync on or off depending on the situation to reduce stuttering in the frame rate, again depending on the refresh rate of your monitor. Nvidia Surround, so you can do you can actually do 4 concurrent displays out of this single card. You can use 3 of them for 3D gaming, and then the 4th can be a companion display to go along and supplement your gaming activities. 3D vision ready, SLI ready. You get CUDA technology integrated, and you actually get 2,304 CUDA cores by way of 12 SMX units. That's 192 cores per unit. Again, Pci Express Gen 3. You also get OpenGL 4.3. OpenCLTM support, and of course this card is also Nvidia Shield ready. So if you also have a Shield, this card fully supports streaming your high-end AAA PC games directly to your Shield unit, so you can play in and around your house via Wi-Fi, which is a pretty cool technique. Some more specs right there, some stuff I've already mentioned. Oh, I should say the memory bus is 384-bit, but that's not all. We've got more stuff. Is there anything on this side? Not really. Okay, so let's talk about some of the special customized work that MSI has done with this card, because this is definitely a customized 780, the cooler, the PCB, and just about everything. First off, they're introducing the triple force fan configuration, so you actually get 3 fans. So if you're familiar with MSI's twin Frozer cooler that they've come out with that they've had for quite a while, which is a very effective cooler. This is the new one, which has 3 fans, so it's Triforce. So Triforce with independent fan control. You can control all the fans independently. You also get a pure digital PWM control, so digital power delivery. You can see some details of some of the components they've integrated there, such as the DRMOS4 MOSFETs, copper MOS, high conductive caps, super ferrite chokes, and dark solid capacitors with a 10,000 hour lifespan. Pretty impressive all around. So 20-phase power delivery here. Again, that's going for overbuilding the card so that folks who want to push it beyond the specs recommended by Nvidia can have all the power they need. You also get dust removal technology. The fans spin backwards to kick off dust when the card is first powered up. super pipe deck technology, and I'll show you guys that in the cooler 8mm heat pipes. And then of course specially designed airflow to provide adequate heat dissipation over the aluminum fin array that is of course part of that Triforce cooler. Taking a look inside the retail box, we have more packaging of course. Convenient little pull strap right there. MSI Lightning logos. Let's see how this opens up. Aha, folds open just like that. Ah, it's not a pull strap, it's to keep this from falling backwards, but hey, works as a pull strap as well. Card is of course right at the top, very adequately packaged with some very dense foam. There's your first look at it, and we'll finish with a closer look at the card and how the heck do you get to the other stuff that's in this box. Oh, it's a drawer. Hey. Clever, very clever MSI. Okay, so a drawer down here includes the remainder of your accessories. So first off, certificate of quality and stability. Of course, this card is part of the military class 4 series, which MSI has for their motherboards as well as some of their video cards. So this is all your certifications that these are military quality components, and they've passed mil-spec standards as listed right down there. So that's nice to have. Frame it, put it on your wall. You do get a very long SLI bridge. This is for two-way SLI configurations. It is a ribbon style one. It is black, so it's going to blend in with most builds. And again, very long and flexible, so depending on the spacing that you have available on your motherboard's PCI slots, you should be able to put the 2 cards, assuming you're doing a 2-card configuration with a two-way SLI bridge, wherever you want. Here is the piece of hardware that you should probably not use with this video card, but hey, you got one anyway. DVI to VGA. If you still have a VGA monitor, well, time to upgrade. Okay, you do have some voltage read points on the PCB that are built in, so this is a little voltage reader, so the plug end which goes into the board, and then this end gives you easier connection points for your multimeter. Looks like they've given you 2 of those, no, 3 of those for all the voltage read points. You also have some of these little adapters, and these are taking 6-pin Pci Express and simply expanding them to 8-pin Pci Express. These are going to be useful if you have a power supply that has the required wattage for this video card already. However, again, double check, make sure you have at minimum 600 watt power supply. I recommend going a bit beyond that to give yourself some headroom for overclocking, or if you're adding additional components to your system. But if you do need those little adapters, you have them there. Here's a quick user's guide from MSI. This one's a little bit more generic, but this is kind of walk you through some of the hardware and software that they have available, and it's in a bunch of different languages, and you got package contents listed on there and all that good stuff. Some icons. Anyway, so you've got that for documentation. Some extra screws, and these are for adding or removing the back plate. There's another back plate in here as well. You get your MSI driver and utility disc. So this is going to have MSI's afterburner overclocking utility, as well as the drivers that were available from Nvidia at the time that this disc was printed, which means there's probably updated ones, and you should go and download those directly from the Nvidia website. As mentioned, this card's designed for overclocking, and depending on the configuration that you're using, well, because this card is so overbuilt, there's going to be a lot of folks who are interested in using it for exotic cooling configurations. So to that end, they provided an additional backplate here. So you can remove the one that's included, and you can pop this one on, and this will give you a bit more access to some of the components on the board if you're going to go for additional overclocking configurations. And they have already included some thermal pads on the back there to help disperse the heat from the components that that's going to make contact with. And here is the GTX 780 Triforce Lightning Edition from MSI in all of its glory. I know I'm leaving all the plasticky parts on it right now. Don't worry, I'll peel those off for you guys in just a moment. Let's start off with a quick measurement. Measured from the bracket here down to the end. I'm showing about, oh gosh, between an 11.5 and 11.75 inches. I'd recommend at least 11.75 inches, if not 12, just to make sure you got a bit of space there for airflow to provide, well, airflow to the card itself. Now looking at the card, of course, the first thing that will strike you is the cooling solution itself. It's mostly 2-slot, however, I would consider this a 3-slot solution. You're definitely going to want to make sure you have space available in your computer case. If you're going with a multi-card configuration, I would make sure you have triple slot spacing available for that. Now apart from that, you'll see some massive fin stacks in there, and you got a couple of those protruding out on either side, and those are going to be cooled by the larger black fans that you see on top. So you got 200mm black flans. I don't know why I keep saying Maybe I should have some flan for lunch. Okay. On either side, and then in the center you have a 70mm yellow fan. And again, these are all going to do that thing where they spin in reverse right when you first power up the machine. That helps kick off some of the dust that might build up to keep the card running cooler and also give you a little bit more time between your video card cleaning sessions, which I know all of you do on a very regular basis. Everyone pulls their video card out, you know, every month or two and disassembles the cooler and, you know, kicks off some of the dust with some canned air and, you know, massages all the parts a little bit so that they perform better. I mean, that's my method, but I'm really just filling airtime while I peel this layer of protective plastic off. Okay, so as you can see, the card comes very well protected so that when you do get it out of the box and you do peel off all of this plastic, it's going to be nice and shiny and new. All right, so there you go. Better look without all that plastic covering it up. You also got some of these covering the tops of the fans, so I'll peel those off as well. Oh, they're sticky. Okay. And then there's a much better look at the card. Okay, so the shroud here is also made of metal, so as you might expect from a flagship card from somebody like MSI, they've done their homework. They've made sure that you have a very well constructed card. It is an open design, so if you notice along the side here, fin stacks here, they do have the air that's being pushed down towards them by the fans is going to eject out either side, so bear that in mind. Typically, in my experience, this does lead to some better cooling options. Typically, cards that I've seen in this configuration do stay cooler, but it does require that you include some better cooling, or at least some better airflow in your case to make sure that you can push all of that air out of your case as well. Down here at this end, you'll probably notice you got a couple little covers here, and that's protecting your two SLI fingers. Now the GTX 780 is capable of 2-way, 3-way, and 4-way SLI configurations. However, again, due to the size of the cooler on this card, you might have an easier time going with a 2-way or 3-way configuration. However, that does not preclude the possibility of folks who might be looking to some extreme overclocking with removing this excellent cooler that MSI has designed, going with some liquid cooling, and then of course you would have the space available for say a 4-way configuration. And I know that's going to happen at some point. It's just gotta. Let me flip the card over so you can get a better look at how it will look in most computer cases. This is typically the side of the card that you get a good look at. So you got MSI glossy logo there, the lightning as well, some black as well as the yellow highlights. On the top, I have another piece of plastic that I peeled off. On the top also you can probably see a fairly uniquely designed backplate. It's very custom, again along with the custom PCB that MSI has built for this board. So they've got some spacing here that's going to allow for a little bit of extra airflow. And this backplate here is primarily for protection, but it also makes some contact with some of the components such as the memory to help provide a bit of extra heat dissipation from those. Here you can also see some of the elements or the components from the 20-phase digital power delivery system that MSI has integrated as well. Quite nice. And then here at the top, we have our Pci Express slot. Again, Pci Express Gen 3 compatible, of course, and that's probably the route that you're going to want to go if you want the maximum performance out of this card. However, again, Pci Express Gen 2 is still going to work for you, so no worries there. There are some voltage read points. Let me flip here to the back of the board. So first off, over here you'll notice you got 3 separate plugs, of course, for the 3 separate fans, all of those individually controllable. Here are your voltage read connection points right there, so you can use those little breakout dongles that I showed you from the accessories and connect that up to your multimeter. Again, if you're going to go for higher level overclocking, having those more detailed voltage readouts is very helpful. For power delivery over on this side, you've got a couple 8-pin PCI Express graphics power connectors. Again, make sure your power supply is capable of supporting the wattage required for this card. And then let's see, a couple more things I wanted to point out. All right, here on the back, you'll notice this MSI logo. Let me flip it so it's right side up. And what that piece of hardware is right there is what's known as a GPU reactor. You might have recognized this from earlier versions of the MSI Lightning video cards. That is filtering electrical noise, and that's going to allow for more stable GPU at higher overclocks. And again, bear in mind that that is there, which will make you want to provide some extra spacing for the video cards if you're going for multi-card configurations. You can see a bit of the heat pipe in there. Again, you've got 8 heat pipes and this 8mm heat pipes. Actually, I'm sorry, 7 8mm heat pipes integrated into this card's cooling solution. And I can't say the card is quite heavy just holding it right now, and again, that's just because of all the hardware and components that MSI has integrated. Okay, let's now take a look at, of course, your video outs, which are down on this end. You have 4 of them. This is kind of the same configuration that you might see with the, other 780s, but you can push 4 displays out of this. Over here on this side, you've got your DVI connectors. Bear in mind that the top one here is DVI-D. That's digital only, so don't try to use that DVI to VGA adapter. It won't work with that one. It will work with this lower one right here, but both of those DVI ports are dual link, so you can push higher resolutions such as 2560 by 1600. You've also got a HDMI 1.4 as well as DisplayPort 1.2. And a couple more elements of the card here that are definitely important. One is a little bit more aesthetic, but it does give you some functionality. That is that lightning logo right there. That does have LEDs behind it, and it will light up. And it will not just light up, but it will also give you some functionality. It will be red under heavy GPU load, it will be blue under medium GPU load, and it will be green under light GPU load. So a bit of functionality as well as aesthetics right there. Also, right under my finger, you'll probably notice a tiny switch. That is because this card ships with not 2, but 3 VBIOSes, or VBIOSes, or I'm still working out the plural of that word. But basically that gives you 3 options. One is going to be a stock or default option, and that's what the card is going to start out with. You also have sort of a middle one, which is pretty much up to you to configure. So that's going to be an overclocking option, for example, so you can set up your overclocks and save them in that BIOS. And then the third BIOS configuration is actually designed specifically for exotic cooling. So that's going to set some parameters in the card so that it will play nicer with, say, liquid gas cooling such as liquid nitrogen or liquid helium. And now here's a quick look at the video card installed, and bear in mind this is our test bed, which is not necessarily color coordinated. However, there's the card, it's up and running. I wanted to give you guys a closer look, well, just at the card itself, of course, with all the fans spinning. And I'm also going to do a quick overview of the little LEDs, because it's actually got quite a few. So you notice a blue LED in here that's on either of the 100mm fans. Also the lightning LED, which is lit up. Currently it's green. I'm going to kill the lights in just a sec so you guys can get a better look at that. And then here in the back you'll also notice the MSI logo on the GPU reactor, also lights up blue. And then you have your power phase componentry right here, and you'll notice the blue LEDs on that. So right now, since the card is just showing 2D desktop, doesn't need very much power, but when I do put a load on it in just a moment, you'll see more of those LEDs light up. So there is that lightning logo once again, and it's green right now because there's nothing going on. So let me just launch the Unigine Valley benchmark right over there. And soon enough, we should see, there, the lighting changed. The lightning changed. Okay, so now it's red because it's a full load. Now, again, if it's a medium load, it would turn blue in color, which you might see it dipping to for just a brief second between scenes. And then also, since we're putting a full load on it, you'll notice all of the LEDs on the back of the card itself also lighting up in blue. So there's a quick rundown of the LED lighting options on the Lightning GTX 780. And that is just about going to wrap it up for this video, guys. Once again, we've been taking a closer look at the new MSI GeForce GTX 780 Lightning. I'm Paul with Newegg TV. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the like button right down there. Don't forget to subscribe to Newegg TV for more tech videos in the future, and we'll see you all next time.